Good evening and welcome to Sports at Prime. And despite it being right towards the back end of the month, it is indeed still August. And because of that, we are indeed still celebrating fantastic women in South Africa. One such is joining me now live in studio, South African golfer Nicole Garcia, joining us right here on Newsroom Africa channel 405. There she is on your screen. Unfortunately, back when she was still in action, and we'll get more of those details in just a few moments' time. Nicole, thank you very much for joining us. We really do appreciate you coming through to Newsroom Africa tonight. Seeing images like that, have the last couple of months been rather frustrating, depressing, difficult for you to deal with? Take us through the last couple of months and the injury that you've been dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at myself on the TV there playing golf, I really do miss tournament golf. So, you know, I've been injured for the last few months. I had a hip operation, so I've been getting back into it slowly. I've played one round of golf since November last year, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll start getting back into it completely.
Now, I feel that I'm 25. My body tells me I'm 45, and even the slightest little injury that I often deal with can take weeks and months to deal with. I imagine if and when you are dealing with hip surgery, I mean, that must be incredibly taxing on your body. I can only begin to imagine the rehab that is required in order to get over that, and still, in fact, you still have quite a few months to go until you're expected back on the golf course as well.
Yeah. So, you know, when I first went in for the operation, it was 9 months recovery. So to get my mind around that was quite difficult, that I was going to be out for 9 months, which meant a whole season away from the European Tour, the Sunshine Tour. But, you know, I had a good support team. My sponsors were great, so that helped me get through it. But the actual recovery was difficult. The first few months was definitely difficult. It was painful. I didn't think I would get the range of movement that I had before back. But yeah, I've got a good team around me. I do a lot of rehab type exercises, especially Pilates now, which the surgeon actually recommended to me, which was great. So yeah, getting back to it. You
mentioned the difficulty, I can imagine mentally as well, that it's one thing having to deal with the physical rehab, having to go through the amount of physio that I'm assuming is required to deal with that. But the mental side is perhaps something that's not very spoken about often in the world of sport. When you were given the news that now you would be out for 9 months, if not even longer, was that something that emotionally and mentally was very difficult to try and swallow?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had my, you know, few tears and contemplation about where I'm going to go with my future. Is this going to end my career? How am I going to get through it? Am I going to be the same when I come back? You know, you have all of these things going through your mind, and you just got to go back to your basics, make sure that you do your rehab correctly. I had a lot of great advice from other sportsmen who have actually had the same operation. Yeah. A lot of golfers tend to have this operation. Richard Sterney was one of them, Ashley Buhai, another one. So it was quite nice to be able to speak to them and to relate, you know, they could relate to what I was going through. So Richard Sterney was very much pushing on, you have to do your rehab correctly, you have to do this every day, don't slack, don't think that you can't do it and then you're going to be okay in the next few months. And then also, you know, they went back after 5 months, which they tried to push to get back onto the course within 5 months, and both of them said to me, don't do it, take the full 9 months, take the year if you can, and heal correctly. So that's what I'm doing, and hopefully it will pay off.
I know it's probably difficult to try and see the silver lining in this, but I assume that having been taken out of the game for the better part of a year, are there some positives for you to draw from this to say that maybe I'm allowing my body to rest, maybe I'm taking much needed time out that when I was on the tour I would never be allowed to cash in on? Are you allowing this opportunity to let you come back stronger and better in 2020?
Yeah, definitely. You know, in the beginning, I didn't quite see it. I didn't quite see how the time off would benefit me. But at the same time, you know, I didn't realize that I'd been injured for so long. I'd always just put it down to I'm weak, and which became very frustrating because I thought that I was just too weak. I wasn't good enough. I was falling away on the weekends after a great start. And this has just allowed me to sit back and realize, you know what, I was actually injured. And when I come back, I will be stronger and I'll be able to get over that hurdle and hopefully win a lot more. And I have taken this time to really do the things that I haven't been able to do before. I mean, I've been playing golf since I was 16 and competitively since straight out of high school. So, you know, I've never really had a normal holiday or, you know, without the golf clubs, or, you know, if I have 3 days off, it's, oh, I need to get back, I can't have too many days off. So having up until this point, 10 months off, and you're being forced not to pick up a golf club is actually quite nice. It's refreshing. And mentally, it's given me a break because the last few months on tour was so taxing mentally and frustrating because I couldn't do what I wanted to do.
What you love, what you want to do, yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a good thing.
Okay, if we take a look at coming back in 2020, you and I have spoken many times in the past, in fact, and I recall having this conversation with you as well, and I'm very interested to find out if you were to go back to the 18, 19, 20-year-old you, and then potentially look ahead to this 2020 you coming back now at the start of the new year. Before we get to you, the individual, how much do you think that the female golfing landscape in South Africa has evolved and grown in that spell of time?
Oh, tremendous leaps and bounds. It's been from the time that I started golf to now. I mean, the amount of women's golf that is on TV at the moment, it can still improve. We can still have more live women's golf, and you know, it can always improve the amount of money that the women play for and that kind of thing. But it definitely, in the last 10 years, it has come along quite nicely. I mean, we've now got the Ladies Sunshine Tour, which ends with the Investec SA Women South African Women's Open. Which is now Ladies European Tour events, which is great. I mean, if you look back 5 years ago when I first went onto tour, there was no, no tour happening here. There was very little women's golf happening here in South Africa. So in terms of South African golf even, it's improved tremendously, and hopefully it will just keep on getting better.
Do you see yourself as part of the pioneering class that is paving the way for perhaps 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old girls now who will grow up in a very different landscape in women's golf than what perhaps you would have done?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I hope so. I hope I'm a role model, and I hope the young girls can see, my generation and the girls that are on tour at the moment with me, like Stacey Bregman, Ashley Buhai, Leanne Pace. There's so many great South African golfers playing overseas and for a living. And now these girls can actually see us doing that. Whereas before, when I was 12, 13, I didn't know about golf. I had no clue. There was no women's golf on TV. There was nothing in the magazine, so I didn't know. So hopefully now they can see us playing and it can become a dream, and not only a dream, but a reality for them. Have
you continued to receive the backing of your sponsors? I know more often than not, it's a case of if you don't play, you don't pay. So exactly. The fact that they've remained on board and backed you throughout this very extended time off. Speak to us about that.
Yeah, definitely. I have been incredibly lucky with my sponsors. When I first got the news that I was going to be out for a whole season, I contacted them straight away just to give them a heads up and say, I understand if we don't carry on a relationship through the season of 2019, and thank you so much for your support. But they all turned around and said to me that they will support me through this season. Investec being a big one for me. Also my clubs, Strixon, Rhode Island, my clothing, all of them have been unbelievable to me. So to have that support has also helped me through it, because I knew that when it did come time to go back into tournament golf, I had everybody still there, my whole team together.
You said that a lot has been done, but perhaps a lot more can still be done. Are you able to put your finger on what you feel can still be done to improve this scenario even further, to try and put women's golf in South Africa and of course in the world as well on an even bigger and better stage?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, you're always going to have the issue between men's prize fund and women's prize fund, and it is quite frustrating sometimes when you know that you practice just, the men on the men's tour, and you spend just as many hours, and the girls out there are just talented, and money-wise, it's just very slow. But, sometimes you have to look at where you've come from, or where the tour has come from, and it has improved a tremendous amount. And I don't think it's going to take that much longer for it to get to where it's an acceptable standard. In terms of women's golf in South Africa, I don't think we could have asked for more in terms of how the tour has grown up to this point. I think it's only been going for 5 or 6 years, and we already have co-sanctioned events with the Ladies European Tour, and more and more companies are seeing the worth of women's golf and what it can do for them in South Africa. So I think, we do have a long way to go, but we've also got to look at where we came from, and it's definitely improved, and I'm very proud of the tour here in South Africa, and hopefully, as my career comes to an end, in however many years, in the next few years, I would like to get more involved and make sure that it carries on growing.
You're still very young. There's still a lot of those years left to come. I want to close by speaking about that co-sanctioning of events, because for those who aren't aware, when multiple tours co-sanction an event, of course, it just opens it up to a completely different platform. It provides better prize money, better golfers coming onto the stage. So the fact that now, much like we've seen in the men's game, the fact that the European Tour and the Sunshine Tour really have this beautiful marriage together, and some we even see the Asian Tour jumping on board as well, but to now no longer just have South African golf essentially under the spotlight, to now have the European Tour, the Europeans looking into South Africa, looking at our golfers, looking at our courses, welcoming you to their courses as well. Does that just open up the world to possibilities?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, South Africa in general is great for sport. The climate is probably one of the best climates I've played in the world. Our courses are great. You know, the girls on the Ladies European Tour love coming out here. For them, you know, it's great experiences. It's a friendly nation. So bringing them out here only increases the amount of girls in South Africa that will start playing. So if you're bringing out the international stars and they enjoy it here and they play well here, and then you open up South African juniors to this world of, well, we can actually go and compete overseas, and these girls are coming here, and it's a worthwhile tour. It's very exciting, and you know, the Ladies European Tour is also, it's a great brand, and the girls out there are incredibly talented, and they love coming out here, and I think it's just going to grow. I think there's a lot of things planned for the Ladies Sunshine Tour next year, and a lot more events are going to be, you know, fields of mixed European, South African, maybe some Northern African, and it's going to be really exciting.
Well, you're going to be part of that very exciting tour, we have no doubt. Best of luck for the close of the year, for the rest of the rehab, the rest of the recovery. We look forward to seeing you back on our screens in 2020. All the best for the recovery, and thank you for coming through to Newsroom Africa.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to Nicole Garcia joining us live in studio to chat about what has been a very difficult year for her in 2019, but she's taken the time out, she's doing the rehab, she's putting in the hard work, and promises to come back even stronger in 2020.